Alright, we have now reached the end of my Halloween retrospectives for this year, and yes, this is a real special. We all know that the Grinch hates Christmas, but I don't think many of us know that his favorite holiday is Halloween. I thought this would be fun to look back on as we make the transition from Halloween to Christmas. Halloween is Grinch Night aired on ABC in 1977 as a prequel to the 1966 holiday classic How the Grinch Stole Christmas, based upon the book by Dr. Seuss. This one had no book predecessor and was written exclusively for television by Dr. Seuss himself, produced by Warner Bros. Animators David H. DePatie and Friz Freleng, similar to the Christmas special being directed and produced by Chuck Jones, another Warner Bros. Veteran. The pair and their production company DePatie-Freleng Enterprises previously worked with Dr. Seuss on the specials The Cat in the Hat, The Lorax, and Dr. Seuss on the Loose, a compilation of 3 Dr. Seuss stories. I actually have a VHS copy of Dr. Seuss on the Loose, and this Grinch Halloween special is included as a bonus feature. In fact, and this is kind of off topic, the opening of the tape has a trailer for Casper, which of course was the subject of my most recent retrospective. Anyway, let's begin our retrospective on Halloween is Grinch Night. One fall day in Whoville, a Who named Josiah and his wife Mariah smell the annual sour sweet wind as all of Whoville goes into lockdown, including Josiah, Mariah, and their grandchildren Obadiah, Micaiah, and the special star Euchariah. Typical Dr. Seuss names. Through song, Josiah explains that the sour sweet wind coincides with Grinch Night, waking up the Greegrumps on Grunker's Pond and upsetting the howling Hackencracks from the Dr. Seuss book Oh the Places You'll Go, signaling the Grinch to cause trouble in Whoville. In this special, the Grinch was voiced by actor Hans Conried, who also served as its narrator. The legendary Boris Karloff voiced the character in the 1966 Christmas special, and likewise also narrated it, but he had passed away at the time of this one. In addition, Hans also narrated Dr. Seuss on the Loose, also voicing both of the Zacks from Dr. Seuss's story of the same name. While looking down on Whoville, the Grinch says to himself, "It's a wonderful night for eyebrows," as his eyebrows lift off of his face, continuing, "It's a wonderful night for teeth. It's a wonderful night for Grinch Night," sending his dog Max to bring the paraphernalia wagon, which seems to have something rumbling inside of it. Max looks just as depressed as he did in the Christmas special. I saw the 2018 animated Grinch movie with Benedict Cumberbatch playing the Grinch, and I thought Max was a lot funnier in that one. He just seems so innocent. He didn't care about the Grinch's grouchiness. Or, should I say, Grinchiness. Back in Whoville, while Euchariah and his family are just standing around, or as he says, stooding around, waiting for the sour sweet wind to be on its way, Euchariah suggests that Grandpa Josiah try to get in touch with the Grinch Alarm Center for updates on whether or not the Grinch truly is making his way to Whoville. Area code 519006. That number always stuck with me when I was a kid. I don't know why. The line is operated by the fast-talking Sergeant Samuel McPherson, watching the Grinch undercover approaching Whoville from underneath a mushroom, while Max slowly pulls the Grinch's wagon, sadly singing inside of his head about his annoyance at the Grinch's abuse. Max's inner thoughts are sung by Henry Gibson, best known for his roles on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, The Blues Brothers, and as the voice of Wilbur in the original animated Charlotte's Web film. Fun fact, the music for this special was composed by Joe Raposo, who I think a lot of us know best for his contributions to Sesame Street. At the time of this, Joe had taken a hiatus from the show, still working with Jim Henson on other things, including the Muppet Show pilot Sex and Violence, and the film The Great Muppet Caper, and had worked for stage shows such as Raggedy Ann and the animated movie spin-off Raggedy Ann and Andy, and composed the very popular theme song for the sitcom Three's Company. Joe also composed for the DePatie-Freleng and Dr. Seuss productions The Grinch Grinches the Cat in the Hat and Pontiful Pock, Where Are You? The next song features a very familiar low voice, the one and only Thurl Ravenscroft, who sang You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch in the original Christmas special. I've talked about Thurl before in another retrospective, but for those of you who don't know, he was a singer in the group The Mellow Men, who often sang in Disney films and for theme park attractions. Thurl also was best known as the longtime voice of Tony the Tiger for Kellogg's Frosted Flakes commercials. They're great! As the Araya family, as I'm going to call them, continues watching and listening to the coverage on the Grinch, Sergeant McPherson reports that the Grinch is now chasing a Wuzzy Woozoo, stating, "The Woozoo at least should have immunity. He's the only one left in our community." The Woozoo tries to escape the Grinch by going another way, but he and Max catch up to him. But the Wuzu runs out of breath and stops in front of a brickle bush, hiding from the Grinch as his wagon trips over a log, launching the Grinch onto the bush, delighting the Wuzu. Even Max seems happy. Meanwhile, Euchariah tells his grandpa Josiah that he has to go to the euphemism, only for Josiah to worry as it means Euchariah has to step out of the house with the sour sweet wind blowing. And judging by where Euchariah is heading, I now know what he means. Does the family not have a bathroom in their house? Maybe it's best not to talk about it in this video, but anyway, let's keep going. Euchariah gets blown away by the sour sweet wind, making Josiah and Mariah worry and call out to him. Euchariah eventually finds the Wuzu, who seems to warn him of the Grinch before Euchariah finds Max, unaware that he is the Grinch's dog, as Max also warns Euchariah about the Grinch, as he finishes picking all of the brickles that he crashed into and notices Euchariah. Euchariah takes off his glasses and asks, "Are you really the Grinch?" as the Grinch responds, dying of laughter, with his eyebrows raising off of his face again, flying over Euchariah, the Wuzu, and Max, while the Grinch sings very hauntingly in some kind of gibberish language. Still shocked by Euchariah's question, the Grinch and Max take off for Whoville. To try and stop the Grinch from terrorizing his family and the town, he catches up to the Grinch to try to stall, using tree bark like a sled following behind and stopping right in front of the Grinch as Max makes a screeching halt. Euchariah stammers and asks the Grinch to keep scaring him, to which the Grinch says, "I gave you the $2 treatment, you're not worth a first-class Grinching." Finally, the Grinch gives in and invites Euchariah aboard his paraphernalia wagon as he opens the rattling hatch from before, revealing a Grinch head balloon as Euchariah is transported to this escape room type world, trying to get away from several phantom-like creatures, including 2 pairs of legs that step in front of Euchariah as he tries to escape. Euchariah finds himself in many different worlds, getting surrounded by many different creatures. It kind of reminds me of 2 things. One is the cartoon Doe for the Dodo, which, like this, was also the work of Friz Freleng. Porky Pig finds himself in Wacky Land to try to capture a $1 trillion dodo, the last of its kind, even though it looks nothing like an actual dodo, with all of these other unusual creatures around him and the dodo playing tricks on Porky consistently. The other thing I'm thinking of when I see this is Dr. Seuss on the Loose, which I mentioned earlier. Not just because this special was included on the VHS that I have, but that special is a compilation of 3 Dr. Seuss stories: The Sneetches, The Zacks, and Green Eggs and Ham. In The Sneetches, when Sylvester McMonkey McBean has the Sneetches go through his star-off and star-off machines, the insides of them look a bit like this escape room that Euchariah is in, except this one has more bizarre creatures. Eventually, Euchariah comes to the end as he is enclosed in a box that launches off of the floor as the sour sweet wind starts to die down, bringing Euchariah back to reality, calming down the Greegrubs and the Hackencracks, bringing an end to Grinch Night, much to the Grinch's annoyance as he and Max head back to their cave, and Euchariah heads home, with Max joining him, leaving the Grinch to pull his wagon on his own, promising to return to Whoville when the sour sweet wind comes back. So no change of heart in this one. So there we have it. That's all for this year's series of Nostalgia Talk Halloween retrospectives. I hope you enjoyed. I had a lot of fun looking back on them, and I hope you had fun listening to them. In the meantime, I hope you all have a happy Halloween, and I'll see you soon with more Nostalgia Talk.